This episode of ArchRivalz is brought to you by the Crumble.
Beware the Crumble. Are you thinking about going as something lame for Halloween? Like a princess, or a cliché, or even a celebrity? Then the Crumble will be waiting for you in the shadows to gobble you up and drag your soul to hell. Why? Because there's nothing funny about you thinking that you're clever.
Hey, I'm hungry like the wolf with ArchRivalz.Boo. And today we are going to celebrate one of my favorite holidays. That one magical night a year where I get the opportunity to dress like an ass and really be myself. And all the ladies across the land get a free pass to slut it up. That's right, it's All Hallows Eve. Ghouls, goblins, and gobstoppers. But before we get this ghost train a-moving,
We have a very special quick history.
trick or treat should have been phased out of our culture ages ago. You tell your kids all year, do not take candy from strangers. Then, one night a year, you take your children to as many strangers' houses as you possibly can to collect candy. And that's why your kid is dumb and confused all the time. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Tanner. So why do you do it? I'm sure you educate your children on the dangers of pedophiles, but it's not like you take them once a year to go sit on some creep's lap. Oh no. In North America, trick-or-treating has been Halloween tradition since the 1920s. Really just a rehash of Celtic tradition, where youngsters would drag their feet from house to house collecting food and money, while disguised in a mask. I'm pretty sure I just described robbery. What crazy Scotsman even came up with this? Alright everyone, I've got a plan. You see, we'll dress up like monsters. Go pay a little visit to our neighbours. Oi, we've come for your food and your money. Trick or treat, you dumb bastard. Now, before North America picked up this awful habit, Canadian children had already been at it since at least 1911. Oh, Canada. And of course, long before then, it was the Scots and the Irish who popularized this bad behavior. Unlike the inaccurate portrayal of the origin story we've provided, the phrase trick or treat was an American flavor. But now, from Puerto Rico to Australia, from the UK on to Canada, trick or treat, which is basically a threat, has become a staple of the holiday. Don't forget about Mexico. Can you give me my little skull? Oh, hell yeah, it's time for quick shots.
Devil's Night Edition.
Shot number 1. The song Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler, released in 1983 and found on a cassette tape titled Faster Than the Speed of Light, is totally a song about vampires. Did nobody do a cover of this song for the Twilight soundtrack? I'm asking, because it's kind of perfect. I imagine. Because I've never seen it before, of course. Oh, it's shot number 2.
The story of Stingy Jack, or the story of the origin of the jack-o'-lantern.
One evening, our stingy friend Jack invited the devil out for some drinks, as you do. But Jack, being the stingy bastard that he is, decided paying for drinks is simply overrated. And Jack thought himself to be clever, so Jack convinces the devil to transform himself into a coin to cover their drinks. But once Old Scratch did so, Stingy Jack, true to his name, simply pocketed the coin, placing it next to a silver cross that he keeps on his person, preventing Lucy from changing back into his devilish form. Later, Jack would free the devil under the condition that he would not bother Jack for 1 year, and should Jack die, he would not collect his soul. But the next year, Jack again tricked the devil, this time into climbing up a tree to pick some fresh fruit, kinda ironic. While the devil was up the tree fetching the fruit, Jack carved a cross onto the tree's trunk, causing the Lord of Darkness to be stuck like Chuck, until the devil promised not to bother Jack for an additional 10 years. A bet. Before the 10-year mark was reached, Jack died. And as the legend goes, God wasn't gonna let some unsavory prick like Jock into heaven. And then the devil, super pissed by all the tricks that Jack has played on him over the years, keeps his word in not claiming Jack's soul and not allowing Jack into hell. So I guess that'll teach him. Instead, he sent Jack off into the night with only a single burning coal to light his way. Jack then, of course, places the coal inside of turnip. Not a pumpkin. Sorry, turnip was the correct answer. Aye, And they say old Jock is still roaming the earth to this day. Which, I gotta say, that is a total step up from hell. The Irish began to refer to this ghostly figure as Jack of the Lantern or Jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, third shot.
Did you ever see It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown? Well, here's a quick rundown then. Spoiler alert. Charlie Brown cartoons are so mind-numbingly boring, you may end up hanging yourself with your very own safety blanket. Our feature begins with almost 2 full minutes of Linus and Lucy silently selecting a pumpkin to carve. If you're not familiar with these characters, Linus is a weenie, and his sister Lucy is a cunt. With 0 parental supervision, Lucy takes a large knife to the lifeless pumpkin, like the professional psycho that she is, causing Linus to cry like the professional butthole that he is. We then clip over to 5 children all dressed in white sheets. I'm assuming that they are supposed to be ghosts, but they might be just mimicking their parents. 2 of the children have witch masks over their sheets. I'm thinking, children of the local Grand Wizard? Anywho, the children get bombarded with evil imagery. As they flee from their inner demons, we get hit in the face with the title screen. Yup, I'm super excited. We then find Snoopy and Charlie raking leaves, as Linus jumps into the pile of freshly maintained leaves like a dick. Linus. Linus is a dick. Charlie and Snoop here then struggle with the dilemma of whether or not to murder the simple-minded pain in the anus, Linus. We catch back up with Lucy as she convinces this genius that signed documents are magic and legally protect him from Lucy's bitchcraft. Always remember to have your documents notarized. That is definitely the takeaway. Then we meet back up with Linus writing a letter to the demon that lives in his head. Charlie tells him he's stupid. Linus tells Charlie that Santa Claus is stupid. So Charlie chooses not to argue over denominational differences. Snoopy, on the other hand, shows up to laugh at his buffoonery. No fucks given. His sister Lucy then shows up to emasculate him. And after spending way too much time with penis, yeah, I said it, we return to the children getting ready for their night of candy begging. Charlie Brown can't be trusted with scissors, and the stinky kid shows up with a filthy sheet. Snoopy wins best costume, dressed like a pre-Nazi from World War I. Linus explains his stupid beliefs to the only girl who will ever like him. When she's not buying it, he then explains how little girls are to believe everything little boys tell them. So she bails on him, then quickly runs back to the misogynistic prick, like the stereotype she was raised to be. Checking in with our trick-or-treaters, we learn that all the off-screen adults keep rocks in their houses to give Charlie Brown instead of candy, because this kid's life isn't shitty enough. Meanwhile, Snoopy's war flashback leaves him stranded in the French countryside. After a long night of collecting their diabetes starter kits, head on over to the party, but not without taking a detour to make fun of Linus and Sally, the girl who listened to her emotions instead of her head. At the party, 3 girls destroy Charlie's self-esteem by luring him into a false sense of security and then drawing on his big, stupid, dumb head with a permanent marker. Good grief! Heading back over to the meaningless subplot, we find Snoopy running for his life, only to end up with a fate worse than death. This party. Lucy takes offense when she's told that she has the perfect mouth for bobbing for apples. They then get some music going in a scene that just lasts way too long. It's trying to be funny, but that's not what these cartoons are good at. So it falls flat, Snoopy agrees, and leaves the whack-ass party to go make fun of Linus some more. Linus then mistakes this small house pet as his deity, and faints like a weenie. Sally then realizes that she has horrible taste in men, and just deconstructs Linus, even threatening to sue him over their bad decision-making. After losing the girl, missing the candy, and the party, Linus continues to wait for his dark overlord in the pumpkin patch. 4 a.m. rolls around, and Lucy uncharacteristically checks to see if her brother is okay. He is not. In fact, he's freezing to death in the pumpkin patch. So Lucy drags her stupid-ass brother to bed. The next morning, Charlie and Linus compare notes on how much life sucks. Charlie with his bag full of rocks, and Linus with his fictional squash god. Attempting to console Linus only causes him to go irate. The credits roll as Linus proclaims that he is right and everyone else is wrong. You know how they are. He lost everything that night, but he kept his faith. The lesson here? Always get your documents notarized, of course. Recommended I crack. Oh, hell yeah! Halloween watch list. You gotta watch Hocus Pocus. This is Ice and Jay. These guys are barely in the movie, but they're like the whole movie for me. But the movie's actually about the legend of the Sanderson sisters. 3 actual witches that were part of the Salem witch trials, I guess. A little early movie narration brought to us by Miss Olin. She explains the fate of the Sanderson sisters to the audience, as well as the fate of Thackeray Binks. But anybody from the story who would know the details is either dead or a cat. So where did this legend even stem from? Of course, I could make a whole video about this movie, but I won't. Apparently our protagonist is Max here. He's not very easy to like. Max won't do shit when Jay and Icebox jack his little sister, but when some old lady's idle threat, he springs into action. In Max's defense, his little sister is just terrible. And if I'm being honest, every bad thing in this movie is Max's fault. The whole virgin candle thing, and that's another thing. Why does this movie make such a big deal about Max being a virgin? He's a minor in a Disney movie. Why wouldn't he be a virgin? A few thoughts about the candle of resurrection. To avoid the unlikely scenario that a virgin would light the candle and bring the Sanderson bitches back to life, you could have a prostitute light the damn thing, let it burn out. Or you could just smash the damn thing, right? When and why was this candle even made? Freddy vs. Jason, bitch. Freddy vs. Jason is the greatest terrible thing to ever happen. Don't even wait for Halloween to watch this. It's everything that you love and hate about Friday the 13th and A Nightmare on Elm Street, all stuffed into a dirty sock and crammed right down your throat. Everybody pick your sides, we're going to hell. Team Jason. This movie is quite a ride. In fact, it's like being in a car wreck and then realizing you had fun smashing your car against somebody else's. Nosferatu. Are you sick of seeing vampires portrayed as sexy, romantic, or just downright lovable? So let's take it back to 1922 when vampires were mysterious, undead stalkers of the night. This movie is so old, so German, and so silent, it almost provides an eerie ambiance when played. It's great for parties. Well, we all know what that noise means, right? Nope, I have no idea. That noise signifies that it's time to say goodbye. Great costume, by the way. Oh, gee, thanks. I'm sure he'll be fine. We hope you've enjoyed what we've done to you today. Happy Halloween! Don't forget to monster mash that subscribe button. You can tickle the like if you're into that sort of thing, you know, huh? Return with us next time for another celebration of learning, loving, laughing together, or really whatever we want. Slaying our inner demons as we burn our fears at the stake, because
that's what the buddies do.